Welcome to yet another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the ultimate in Final Fantasy podcasts. I am your host, Caleb.
And I am Joe.
And today we are going to be reviewing the beloved Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Crystal Bearers.
Beloved.
Yeah, we both beat this thing in a week. I feel like that might not be the best thing to do from now on.
Why is that?
Well, I feel like I don't want to spoil too much, but when I play something exclusively and like in rapid fire, I tend to hate it more. I feel like I'm discovering. And
what are you saying about your review of this game?
I'm saying that it might possibly be the worst Final Fantasy game I've ever played. As far as the controls go, I'm 100% sure that's the case. I have to then decide, is it bad enough to make me hate it more than like Dirge and the lower tier FF?
The controls in Dirge are pretty bad.
They are, but dude, they're not this bad. Nothing is this bad. Nothing I've ever done is this bad. Like tank controls, the worst tank controls I've ever played in a game, not this bad. Truly.
Well, yeah, we're reviewing the last Crystal Chronicle game here.
Yeah.
Crystal Bearers.
What a way to go out, too, I'll add.
Oh, what a way.
You know, I mean, I honestly, after playing this, I can't imagine why they would cancel the next, 2 Crystal Chronicle games that they had.
I think they had 3 in development. They might have just been 2.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine why after such a game they would decide to just be like, no, you know what? We're not going to do another one. We're going to stop it here. And this is where Crystal Chronicles dies. I can't imagine it, you know. Especially with all the similar things this game had to FF13. Like, it's kind of eerie how similar this game really is.
Well, to some people that's a plus, and to some people that's a negative. Most people who are listening to this haven't played this game.
Yeah.
To be fair, this game I don't think it did well, like at all. It didn't do well critically, and I don't think it obviously didn't sell enough copies to continue the Crystal Chronicle series. Which is funny because this was the 3rd Crystal Chronicle game released in 2009, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Do you got development stuff on it?
You know, not a whole lot. So it was supposed to be, you know, the more single-player experience. So this game, you have moments where you can go multiplayer, but they really wanted to focus on the single-player in this game. So that's like when Itahana said he wanted like a more single-player experience. He wanted to make it kind of a little bit more of a traditional FF, more of a world-weary protagonist, he's quoted as saying. Wanted to see kind of rugged, which I didn't really get necessarily. I mean, the guy kind of reminds me of Han Solo in a way, except he's not trying to get the chick, which is not Han Solo.
I think in an FF kind of realm, he's the Sky Pirate version of Vaughn.
Yeah.
Like after FF12, that's what he is.
Pretty much,
somewhere between Vaughn and Balthier.
Yeah, that's a pretty good statement, and that's kind of what I thought at the very end of the game. So yeah, the developers refused to comment about the status of Crystal Bearers in 2008, and they said only that the public should wait for a press release, and they got that later that year, and you know what? Yeah, they said it was canceled for the rest of the series. They're like, this game, I think it did really poorly. Like, I mean, I'm looking at sales data. They don't have like full sales data like they do on most of the Final Fantasies. Most of the time they'll be like, oh, as of like November 2010, the game sold 1 million copies. And it's like, well, I mean, that's like 5 years after the release. So yeah, it kind of seems like that's probably about as many copies as it sold. I don't think anybody's buying it new. It sold on its first day in release in Japan. It sold 26,000 copies.
That's not good for FF.
No.
By
the end of the year, and this game came out in, I think, September or something like that. By the end of the year, it had sold 54,000 copies. Now, it came out in November in Japan. That's right. So I guess that's 54,000 in about a month, and that's all I have as far as the sales data on it.
Oh, dude, I bet... And that was only in Japan?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to guess that we have a max of 200,000 copies sold worldwide. I'm going to guess that based upon how much it was sold in Japan in that first while.
Yeah, let me see if I can... I go to this VG charts site, and it kind of... I'm not sure exactly how
they get their numbers at all, yeah.
But they quote it as 0.39 million, so 390,000 copies total. Which isn't too bad, I guess. I mean, that's still pretty low.
I know... I'm wondering if the microphone is picking up the whisking going on in the background.
I am almost positive it is, yeah. But you know what? It's a little taste of life, you know.
Sometimes you gotta make some breakfast while you're doing a Final Fantasy podcast.
Sometimes you really do.
Sometimes you do.
Really do. But I mean, I think most of the reason why the series ended up dying is because we had, in this year, you know, we had Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, Crystal Bearers come out, and that's a max of 200 or 300,000 copies or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then we also had My Life as a King, My Life as a Dark Lord, and the Echoes of Time come out. And it's not really, I mean, between all of them, I'm thinking maybe 1 million sales, but I don't even think that's accurate. I'm gonna double check on Echoes of Time here because I'm curious as to why they would have so many things lined up. Yeah, 570,000 copies. So maybe 1 million copies in this series in the last year, with 4 games coming out. So they had the original Crystal Chronicles, which we know did pretty well.
Yeah.
And then the subsequent 4 games maybe sold 1 million copies.
Yeah, but they made them all at like the same time and just kind of like put them out in a line. So it's not like... I think they were... maybe they were just expecting something bigger, but it's not like these games had like huge budgets either. But obviously, Crystal Bearers was a disappointment.
Yeah.
If anything, Crystal Bearers was a disappointment critically. I've seen the Metacritic score of all the Crystal Chronicle games, and you get to Crystal Bearers, and it drops.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Which is weird. Obviously, I think we might actually have slightly differing opinions on this game, but I'm not sure. And I won't be sure until we get to the story section, because you haven't told me what you think of the story of the game. But is that pretty much what you got? I know that, like, from what I was looking at, I think the director was a different person than the other games, and I think the composer was different, and the artist, if it was the same person, had a very different design, aesthetic they were going for in this game.
Yeah, I don't know, it is a lot different, and I mean, some of it I kind of dig, but I mean, it almost seems like a different game. Like it almost doesn't belong. I mean, this is the one that feels the least like a Crystal Chronicles game. The artist was the same person.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, he's the same guy as the first one. Toshiyuki Idahana. The composer... Okay. Let's see.
The composer for Echoes of Time is Kumi Tanioka.
So Kumi Tanioka is involved, but there are 2 other guys as well, or 2 other people.
Okay.
Hidenori Iwasaki and Ryo Yamazaki. So they had 3 composers for this game.
Okay. All right.
2 writers, it's a bunch of different people.
Hiroyuki Seigusa and Miwa Shota?
No.
No. Okay, so those are different writers from Echoes of Time. Then the director of Echoes of Time was Mitsuru Kamiyama.
Yeah, this one's Toshiyuki Idehana.
Okay, let's fire his ass.
Yeah, no kidding. I would take it a step further, but I won't. I won't say what I wanted to do to him at the end of this. At the end of this goddamn game. But yeah, so a little bit of a weird development. Like, I almost wonder if there's a lot of in-house problems, because we're looking at 3 composers, a different director, same artist, like 2 writers. I mean, that's usually not a very good sign. It would seem. And then the one thing that really stands out to me...
They made these all these games in a row.
Yeah.
It's not like... They obviously knew they had the other projects probably a lot earlier. Crystal Bears was the last one. And then they put someone else on that because, the other ones they're busy. Except for the composers, they work to death.
Yeah, apparently.
But yeah, man, kind of a different team on this one than the previous games, at least from Ring of Fates on to Echoes of Time. Like, those 4 games in between the first game and Crystal Bears, that was all like one group of people solidly doing the big creative jobs.
Yeah.
But yeah, Crystal Bears is the one, I remember looking at it last week. Crystal Bears is the one with like a really different team. And the first one had a slightly different team as well. So these are definitely, like, you can feel in the middle 4 games, there's a cohesiveness there. And then the first one is really fucking weird and out there in comparison to those 4. And then this one's way... way different in feel and look and everything like that. So yeah, let's dive right in. You want to talk about story?
Yeah, so the game is set 1,000 years after the events of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, and we have the 4 races that we had before. We've got the Ukes, the Klavats, the Selkies, and the... fuck. The other ones.
I don't know. I remember Selkie and Uke.
Selkie, Uke, Lilty. And fucking Klavat. Those are the ones. It's too many E's, I can only remember so many E's at the end of these terms.
I remember Selkie because that's what my guy was in the first one.
Yeah, I chose that one in the last one we played. But I ended up using the Klavat guy most of the game because he's fucking powerful. So I guess during the Great War, the Uke tribe actually was banished to their own world, and their crystal was destroyed by the kingdom's destructive machines that are called crystal reactors. So this ushered in a new era and a very imbalanced world, and it sort of showed that there was like a member of each race, they have the power of the crystals, and these are what's known as the crystal bearers, and you basically have magic, and that's all it is. Everyone in this game is extremely racist too, by the way. Like, they all hate the crystal bearers, they all hate, like, they hate everyone that's not them, pretty much, as far as I can tell.
There's people that, like, hate Selkies and stuff like that. Yeah,
which I don't get why. Like, Selkies are awesome, man.
Selkies are great.
Yeah. They're the breeders of the world. And so to set the stage here, in 2008, there was actually an advertisement that advertised Ring of Fates as the one that sort of set the stage for this game. So that's the one that Ring of Fates happens like way before everything else, but it kind of sets it up well. So the main protagonist, his name is Lael. He's a Klavat mercenary, and he's one of the 4 crystal bearers. And this is where it starts turning into FF13 for me, because your crystal is like on your body, right? And so it reminds me a lot of the Lassie like marks that they have in FF13. And in this one, your guy has like a little crystal thing on his cheek. So you have a buddy, his Selkie pal, his name's Kais, and he actually becomes oddly like a colonel of the kingdom, like the kingdom you're at. And then you run into Belle as well. She's a female Selkie who sort of helps you solve everything. Goldenrod, who is a Uke summoner, and one of the other crystal bears, and also Altea, who is the orphaned princess of the Lilty Kingdom, who also is a fucking crystal bear. So everyone that's important except for your one buddy, Kais, is a crystal bear in this game, pretty much.
Yeah.
Main baddie is Jagran, who was the high commander of the Lilty place, and he as well is a crystal bear. And so story starts out. Lael arrives at the Alexis II and meets Amadantalon, who at first was Goldenrod. He goes through a name change, a little transition, and who uses one of the crystal idol pieces to absorb the energy from the ship. So the ship kind of like takes off, starts collapsing, and this is when you first encounter the horrors of the controls that await you. This and the part before it where you're trying to zap these zoo guys out of the sky. Painstaking. So you get out, you land the ship safely right next to the capital. You evade the guards, because like we said before, no one likes you. Everyone like hates the crystal bears, so you're like, you gotta kind of go incognito, run away and stuff. You guys all head to the ancient ruins through a cave where you discover Goldenrod is using the idol to revive the parts of the crystal. Ooh, super, super spooky. And after you leave that cave, you kind of continue to investigate the case. You go all around, discover new areas, fight a bunch of dudes, blah, blah, blah. And then Jagran, the Lord Commander dude, frames
the guy
Lael.
Who's definitely a bad guy.
Yeah, who's a bad guy, even though he hired you to do the first job. Like,
yeah,
he's pretty evil immediately.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is the bad guy.
Yeah, well,
this is the twist.
Yeah, there's a part in the very beginning of the game where he's like, you're trying to stop the ship from crashing, and the guy's like, they're not part of the contract. You should just leave and just let all these people die and like the ship crash into the city. And it's like, yeah, he's kind of a douche already. So he frames you, and you actually end up saving Goldenrod, and you head to the city through a portal. And there, that's when, like, because the whole game so far, you're, like, chasing around Goldenrod. You're, like, ripping masks or, like, hoods off of monks, like, hunting them down. Like, you are convinced it's a girl. You're convinced this girl is, like, your enemy, because she's doing something with the crystal. She's, like, trying to take yours away. And you eventually meet up with her again, and she suggests that you guys work together to stop Jagran and save the crystal. And that's kind of when, like, you turn the tide with her. Yeah.
And then later, doing all this stuff, and I think, like, you meet up with Goldenrod again. Jagran turns bad. It turns out that his, like, whatever power he has is, like, doesn't he get like some kind of power, and then suddenly his arm is like crazy death arm?
Yeah, well, and
then of course now he's got to take over the world in order to save everyone in his mind. But
he's kind of like crazy. The one girl at the end of the last game where he can create crystals out of stuff. Like he turns things into crystal, and like, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if the game ever explained it, but, like, something happened and he lost his arm, but now he has the ability to use the arm to, like, create crystals with basically anything he touches. So it's almost like Midas, He's got, like, the golden touch, but instead it's Final Fantasy, and they don't give a shit about gold. They only care about crystal, so he's got the crystal touch. And, so he fucking kills one of the dudes that you've been kind of hanging out with. His name's Vigali, and he's like a super ripped guy, and there's like a epic scene where he like brings down the house trying to save everybody, but he just gets totally owned.
Yeah, and there's like a Selkie imprisonment or something like that.
Yeah, and they're like,
gotta save all these people.
They're like detaining them all, and this is like a fucked up part of the game, because he's down there just like Jason walking towards these guys, and you're supposed to throw pieces of the ship at him to kind of get as many people out as you can. And, like, I had, like, 8 or 10 people die in that part, because there's, like, nothing to rip off and save them with. So he's just down there just prowling, just fucking tearing people to pieces, turning them into crystal and shattering them, which is pretty
fucked up. I think that may be one of the least thought-out gameplay things in the game. It's like, there's, like, 3 ladders and a couple pipes to throw down.
Yeah, I'm like, thanks. Like, this is useful. And they eventually respawn. I'm like, how did the broken ladder respawn? Like, it wasn't there. There wasn't
I had
even a
nothing to
fixed ladder.
respawn.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Really?
God. So yeah, that part happens. He's down there slaughtering people. He's down there killing them all off. And you guys leave that airship and you return to the chamber room with the crystal, and you kind of use the idol to recover another part of the crystal. And then Jagran interrupts the party and kills Goldenrod. And that's kind of
Who has a different name at that point? I mean, for the first half of the game, the name was Goldenrod, and then it turns into something really intense.
Amidatelian or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's the reason why she changes is because she goes into another Uke body. So, like, they're just like robots, I guess. They're not actually sentient. I mean, they are sentient, but they can be not sentient, I suppose. And so she just found, like, a shell one when she was dying before. And that's when she became Amidatelian. Painful. Like, I don't know why you would change your name just because you changed bodies, but whatever.
Well, he was calling her Goldenrod. I don't think that was her name. I think she was...
Oh, yeah, you might be right.
Time.
Yeah, he was just being a dick. Just gave her a nickname.
Well, he had no name for her. He met her at the beginning. She was in his way, and then he called her Goldenrod the whole time.
Yeah, you know what? That's true. That's a good point. He's the only one that called her that.
Yeah.
So Altea's military troops detain Jagran for betraying the race. So they find out about, like, how he slaughtered all the Selkies and how he there's a part in the game where you find, like, the king on the ship, and he's been turned to crystal. And you know that and everyone kind of knows that Jagran is the dude that can turn people to crystal. And so they're like, oh my god, it was you that did that to the king. Like, you're under arrest for being such a dick. And you are actually pardoned from the crime. So that initially you were the one that they blamed for it. And you guys head up to the palace, but before you do that, you use Jagran uses his power, to activate his battleship. Oh my god. And kidnap Princess Altea. And this is where the game gets insanely hard. As far as, like, you playing the actual game. But since this is a story breakdown, I won't worry about it here. So once you disable the reactors, you save Altea, and you confront Jagran. And with the help of the Ukes, you manage to save the Lilty crystal. So basically the idea was that, like, the Ukes crystal, the reason why theirs was destroyed and, like, they were banished from the world is because they were trying to destroy the Lilty crystal while they were with their crystal. I don't understand how that works in this world. I don't know how you can do, like, crystal to crystal warfare. I kind of just imagine, like, just a war of nukes, you know, and that's kind of what was happening.
Or just like hammers, just going up and breaking the crystal itself.
Yeah, exactly.
With some rock hammers.
Something. So you end up saving the Lilty crystal. You get the princess to go, and she's like, "Oh, keep it safe." After you, like, restore the Ukes to existence, basically, and you destroy Jagran, who has become a fucking ship, and you end up surviving, and you leave the world through the ocean. And there's, like, a fun little scene where everyone's looking for you, and, like, no one can find you, and it's like 10 minutes long, and they're hunting you down, and then, you just help a girl get her hat back on the boat, and you're alive, and everyone at the capital is celebrating, and they're all excited to unite the races. The hatred, the disdain between the Ukes and the Lilties is over. They kind of unite the races, and that's how the game ends. So it's kind of it's like a weird racist game that they have here. Like, everyone hates each other, and they're like, no, man, we're going to kill you guys. And, like, everyone calls, like, the Lilties onions and shit. Like, it's kind of crazy.
It's a game about racism.
It kind of is, yeah.
It is. So it's interesting that they, in a weird spin-off Final Fantasy game, that they were choosing to tackle that.
Yeah, it's like,
this isn't the platform. In your outline there of the story, you're missing some great scenes.
Don't, please.
A couple parts. First off, the relationship between the main character and what's the girl's name? The Selkie girl? It's like, I want to call her Rose, but I know it's not Rose.
Yeah, it's certainly not Rose. Fuck, let me see. Selkie, what was her name? Kais was the guy. Belle. I knew it was like some Disney princess. Thank you.
So the way that she's showing up all the time, there's kind of a fun flirtation between her and the main character. Also, like the weird scene where you're trying to fix a bikini wrestling.
Oh my god!
Fight. That's a great scene.
No, that is not.
Is the part where you said you liked it, where it's the James Bond scene where he has to get to the princess and he's disguised and he's at a dance and he has to like make his way to the princess by dancing with all these people. Because, I mean, just walking through a dance floor while people are dancing is not okay.
Yeah,
apparently.
It's extremely... It's against the law here.
As soon as that music starts, you better have a partner. Or else it's musical chairs. Get out of there.
Yeah. Let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you, I'm going to go back because I was messaging Joe because I'm not able to I'm not able to stream right now because something's going on with my computer. It's being really weird. So here's where it started. I said, this game's controls are absolute garbage. Also, is it every NPC's goal to get in my fucking way?
Oh,
Jesus.
Shit, yeah.
And then after that, I said, this balance part is trash. Jesus fucking Christ. I want the creator of the controls to be hanged. Fuck. How did you beat this shit part? Jesus fucking Christ, man. Fuck this piece of shit. And you're like, reset your sensor bar and make sure nothing is in the way. It'll make it 30% better. And then I said, this one will be given to the fucking guns. That was during that balancing part. You kind of brush over it, and it's not really important at all. Because it starts out at first with you kind of hunting around for Belle, and you come upon the women's dressing room, and you're just like looking in there, and they're like getting changed and shit, and I'm like, God, dude. And then they're like, oh, you're such a perv. Oh my God, you know. And then you fucking have to help Belle balance. Like, there's this mini game they're playing where they're like,
I did not win that part. I let her lose.
You can't.
Yeah, you can.
It kept telling me to retry.
You could say no.
What?
There was an option to say no. I'm not going to retry.
Oh my God! I spent an hour on that, dude. Oh, I thought that would like quit me out of the menu. So they're basically like bumping butts this whole time on this floating pedestal thing in the water, and you have to like kind of jerk it around so that the girl, her opponent, gets like smacked, and then when like she starts falling off, you have to jerk it real hard in the other direction. And my God, dude, trying to do anything in this fucking game with these fucking controls is impossible. Like, I can shake that little fucking cracker in the water all day long until she's like falling off, and then I try to jerk it, and it's like, what do you want to do? Like, what's going on? I'm like, fucking what? And oh man, dude, I didn't know you could just not worry about that shit. I was there for an hour.
I couldn't figure it out, so I said no, and then it just like kept going. She just lost it.
Oh, fuck me, man. I would have never done that if I had known that I didn't have to. That is fucking painful. That is fucking painful, man. And the IGN, so I saw a video for the IGN review, and that's the picture they used for the YouTube video, and I'm like, God, I can tell where that fucking review's going. Like, it fills me with almost as much anger. No, you know what? It's more anger than when I saw the intro to 10-2 after beating 10. Like, it's that insulting. The controls for this fucking part in this fucking game.
You gotta get a gameplay for that, man.
Yeah.
God, that was funny. I don't know. I laughed at that whole sequence. I didn't beat the thing though. Just let it happen. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. There's no other part of the game that like lets you not restart. Yeah. Anyway, so there's that. The part where he starts like, where the bad guy Jagron starts like turning people into crystal, basically. That's really intense.
Yeah.
And the whole game, like the production value of the cutscenes in the game they're really high.
Yeah.
especially in comparison to the rest of the series. It is. I know it's a Wii game, so the quality is not as high as FF13, and certainly in like the 2 CG cutscenes. When I say CG, they're pre-rendered cutscenes. They certainly don't look as good as FF13, but I mean like 2009 Wii Final Fantasy game. I think they were obviously going all out as far as the story was concerned. And I thought, honestly, Schweiss, I think this is the best FF story we've had in a long time, personally. You might feel different. I don't know if the gameplay is clouding your ability to kind of separate the story from it, but all the characters were clearly drawn. Obviously, like, I'm able to talk about the story and bring up shit that came up at the game that you didn't say in your outline because I was following it and I was paying attention, and I haven't done that in a long time because none of the stories have really like pulled me in. Okay. And it's like, simple enough. I really like the I'm gonna call her Rose again. Belle. I really like the Belle character. I really like the main character. I mean, he is kind of an archetypal kind of a thing, but I liked him. I like that he had a sense of humor and stuff like that. I like Kais. When Kais turns on Jagran near the end of the game, I thought that was really cool because you think that Kais might not be on your side for a second.
Yeah.
And the cutscene quality is really high. There are some like goofy dialogue moments, as there is in most of these games. And certainly at the beginning of the game, I wrote down like a note saying, "Hey, some on the nose dialogue." Can't remember what it was right now. I don't have my notes in front of me, but yeah, man, I dug the story. I don't think it's perfect, but honestly, like this, if they had expanded it a little bit, it could have been like a main series FF game if they had just like expanded it and maybe made it a little longer. I honestly was like really impressed by it. It could just be in comparison to like the last 10 games we've played, but I was pretty impressed by the cutscene and the drama and the characters especially, and how character driven it was. And some of these, I don't know if it's the writers that they hire for these like spin-off FF Squared, like whatever Square does. It just seems like sometimes they're just trying to like make a lore game.
Yeah.
And this one didn't have that. This one was character based. And interesting. To me. It was a lot more interesting than the other stuff. There's definitely a lot of cliches in there. Definitely a lot of overlap with FF13. Although I will say that it tells its zany story a little bit more simply than 13.
Yeah.
And yeah, the cutscene direction was fantastic. It's really dynamic cutscenes. Pretty well directed, I would say. And overall, I like the story quite a bit. I agree with you on these gameplay things. Don't worry, we'll talk about them.
Yeah.
But I thought the story was pretty good.
I thought it was fine. I found myself like tuning out a few times here and there because there were just so many distractions that came upon us, like the whole balancing thing, and like I don't know, like it seemed like it was supposed to be fun, but it never was for me. Like the fun part that I had in the game, and I think the most fun I ever had, was when I was doing the dancing. Like every other part of the game made me hurt. So I don't know. I think the story's okay. I did like how simply it was told, and you're right, it is more about the characters. It's more about Amadontalon, Belle, Kais, Lael. That's really what the game focuses on, and it talks about the world building. It does some world building with the Uke tribe and their loss of Crystal and like their almost banishment from their world. And you go to their world and you kind of see what's going on with them, and then you eventually bring them back to the world, and it's not as heavy as certain games can be, certainly. And I kind of liked I kind of like the story a little bit. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's a great story, but it is very simply told. You know, it's a standard chosen one kind of plot line, and there are a bunch of people that can do this magic thing, and you have to stop the main baddie, and you stop them, and you save the kingdom, and everybody's at peace. You know, like it seems kind of standard fare for me, but it's not done poorly. And we've had a lot of poorly done stories in the last little while, so I can appreciate that, even though I did tune out for a little while during the game.
I will say, I think I'm looking at our game list here, and I'll be honest, we all know that I don't really care for the tactics stories, so I would assume that you probably think the best game story-wise we played last was probably tactics. But I would go so far as to say, and I don't even think the FF14 expansions are as good as, story-wise, as good as this game. I think FF14 expansions are the entirety of FF14. It's too long, and there's too much lore, and I'm just not interested, and the characters aren't well-drawn enough, and there's too many of them, frankly. I think the best game story-wise since this game, for me, was FF13 2.
Yeah.
And that was like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 reviews ago. So
I like tactics. I like tactics a lot, yeah.
In comparison, yeah. And I would probably put tactics advance because it was, I don't know, I thought honestly, like, whatever. I don't want to get into the tactics quagmire. But yeah, man, I have been story-wise missing out in this series for a while, and so this was like, as far as the cutscenes were concerned, it was just like, just a light in the darkness for me for a while. Yeah, and I was really surprised by it because I saw the Metacritic score and I was like, oh, it looks so shitty. And then the game starts, and I think the opening cutscene is fantastic, and I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be great. What are they talking about?
Yeah, we know what they're talking about
and
now.
Then and then the gameplay started.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm no stranger to playing stuff on the Wii and on, you know, these consoles, these movement fucking controls consoles. So I've done it. I've done it before. I've played my Wii a decent amount of times. I love playing with my Wii, especially when I was younger.
I love playing with your Wii.
Yeah, exactly. It was fun. You know, we were Wii bowling, Wii everything. It was all about the Wii. You know? And
that's right.
This game's controls are fucked, man. Like they are so bad. And I don't know if my bar is like not great, but I mean, I kind of do because I played bowling and golf and tennis and all that just fucking fine. And I mean, they are simpler games, but my God. Because a lot of this game, like the combat is based around you dodging like a motherfucker and also like grabbing people and tossing them, basically. You just use your telekinetic powers to just chuck people and deal damage to them over time. And it is something else in this motherfucker, dude. Like you use it to interact with the world. You pull down levers and like open up doors and stuff like that. You have to throw boxes at enemies to kill them. Like it is bad, and it's so hard to control. And the thing is, I think the worst part about it, Joe, I think the only reason why it's so shitty is that to throw, you have to like jerk your controller. And so when you jerk your controller, your little the aimer thing is just gone because you chucked your thing. You chucked it, so it just goes away, and you have to refine where you're at on your fucking Wii bar to then like find your little shitter of a reticle and like get it back on the screen, and then you're like, oh, there it is. Oh, left corner. You got to reorient it, and then you bring it down. You're like, all right, now I can grab another guy, and it's like, fuck, man, it's like seconds have gone by since you chucked the controller, and it's gone. And the game also has something that's even more infuriating than that. It's like an auto lock-on that it does. So you'll be I'll be like, at the final boss fight is fucking terrible in this game. It is so stressful. It's like bullshit. You're fighting Jagron and he's a ship, right? And he grows a fucking arm out of the side of the ship and he swings that motherfucker at you and just, you know, like just fucking, just clobbers you with this big arm. He gets you the Tongan slap, you know? He just whips it across the sky and you try to dodge. And you try to dodge this, but there's no getting out of Jagron's Tongan slap. And it's crazy. Like, it does, like, almost all of your life in one hit. And you got that going on. You've got these little assholes flying around. And the whole time you're trying to grab his arm and just, like, yank on it, basically, to rip it out, you know. And you're trying to do that, but the arm has, like, 7 spots on it that, like, you can aim at. And as his arm fucking moves, as you're holding your reticle over and you're using the button to grab onto him, it like has a little timer on the inside of the reticle, and it'll like skip from that part to like the next part of the arm because that part of the arm got closer to you, and it's like, oh, do you want to grab this part of the arm? And I'm like, no, I didn't want to grab that part of the arm. If I wanted to grab that part of the fucking arm, I would have put my little cursor over it and pressed B on that part of the arm, but I didn't. And so as he's swinging his big fucking Tongan hand at you, you grab you're just getting like target swapped all fucking day long. He hits you, he two-shots you, game's over, and you have to do the same thing again and again. And it's like, I don't know how to dodge him. Like, I get the like, there's moments where he swings super high and super low, but there are some times when like, you just gotta back the fuck up all the way and just hope it doesn't hit you. It's like I'm playing Parasite Eve 2 all over again. It's like, you just gotta fucking hope. You gotta hope that even though he's right on top of you, you don't get hit. And it's so fucking awful, man. It's so bad. It's so trash. And the thing that pisses me off the most is like, we're in the sky, man. We're like in space here. And you think you can move wherever you want to dodge.
No, you got about 40 feet.
Yeah, there's a wall.
Square feet.
There are invisible walls around you. There's an invisible wall
in space.
I'm like, why is this way? Like, my God, if I could just free roam around this map, it'd be no problem to fight this guy. And it would probably be a more interactive fight. But it's not. He's swinging down at you and you're like, oh, okay, I better go to the right. It's like, oh, just kidding. To the right is that fucking Invisa space wall. I'm just gonna die now. And then you restart the game and you do the same fucking thing over again. Like,
that's the forgiving thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
The forgiving thing about the game is that its controls are fucking terrible. They are fucking terrible. I thought it was my setup.
It's
so
not.
Like, changed the first thing I did because, you know, for the show, I got a little like 19-inch television so that just in my apartment, it's just not really conducive for a television right now, although I'm going to make it happen here soon. So I basically have it set up as a second monitor next to my computer on a desk. And so like having the Wii bar there on the desk was like, oh, you know, it's a little bit, and this was actually making it more problematic. There was like part of the desk was blocking the signal when I had the Wii on me, and I had to wear headphones for everybody else's sake. There's so many cutscenes in this game, so I had to pay attention, and like I had to wear headphones, and I couldn't just like read text or whatever. So I had to like back up, and my headphone thing, my wire going to my television was only going like 3 feet, so it's like really close to the television, playing a Wii game, which is really problematic. So yeah, my first advice to you was like, you know, move the Wii bar to a place where it's out of the way. I got duct tape and put the Wii bar on top of the television, pointed towards me. And then I did all I could to like back up as far as I could, and it did make the game like 30% more playable. And I was hoping that for your sake, your experience would be improved by like, you know, you go into the menu, you reset the Wii bar shit, and let it know where the Wii bar's at. So now it's set to like on top of the TV or whatever for me, and it did. It made it slightly better because it was really bad when I first started. Now it's just bad as I was playing the rest of the game. So the game's the only thing that it does to help you out in that respect, it's like it knows that the controls are bad.
Yeah.
And the only thing it helps you do is like it's almost impossible to die in this game.
Yeah, I mean, when
almost
you fall
impossible.
off a cliff, you like Spider-Man grapple the side, and you just like spray your little web out, and you pull yourself back up. Like, it's a retry option almost every time.
There's platforming in this game, and if the platforming was unforgivable and you died when you fell off a cliff, this game would be unforgivable.
Yeah.
But luckily it doesn't do that. And also, all of the major boss fights, if it's a regular fight, you will get a game over. Found that out.
Yeah, you will.
But if it's a boss fight, it's just retries all day long. And for the first boss fight, the one in the graveyard with the weird clown dude, that boss fight, you could actually, his health bar was going down the entire time, and it would just stack every time you did a retry.
Yeah, it would.
So this game knows that it's shitty, and they put that in there to like make it playable, which I will commend them for. This is what I think happened, because Schweiss, you're right totally about all the control shit.
Yeah,
it's
it
awful.
makes me want to kill myself. I wanted to grab my Wii, and I wanted to smash it over my banister until there was nothing left in my hands. Like, I was like so mad. I was like, how fucking far away do I gotta get from this bar for me to be able to fucking move in this game? I'm just trying to dodge, man. I'm just trying to move. I'm just trying to grab this guy's arm that's half the screen. I can't see shit. Like, I can't, and you can't even tell what it's doing anymore. It's just suddenly it's upon you, beating the shit out of you. And I'm like, why is it so zoomed in here? Why?
Man, the robot fight, I was so frustrated at, too. There's like these fucking robots just in the middle
of that room. Oh, yeah.
Of the room, and they're flying around, and they're gang raping you.
They hit you fucking hard.
They got these fucking shields on. And it just took me, I had to go on YouTube and see someone beat it, and they were equally frustrated, by the way. I heard the guy who was streaming, who was like, fuck, and he like kept restarting. So I got to like the last part where he was figuring it out, and it's just like, pull those emergency levers, and that's it.
Yeah, it's easy as hell when you figure it out, but they're just fucking you, just destroying you.
God, they're fucking awful. But yeah, and the final boss fight, there were tricks to it. Like, I just realized after a while, I was like, I have to figure out how to dodge this arm. And so I did a few retries just figuring out what the arm's pattern was. And after that happened, it's just, you don't try to destroy the arm, you just try to get the fuck out of the way of it while you're destroying the rest of the thing.
Yeah.
So, for those of you about to play this game, that's the key.
Yeah, first of all, I am sorry. Secondly, get ready. And don't attack the arm. See, because there were multiple times where I got the arm, and this is like stage 2 in this battle, 2 or 3. Well, I can't fucking remember how many I did before it. All I can remember is it. And once I got to that stage, I almost killed the arm. I killed the arm, and then I got shot by one of the fucking towers, and I died. Right? And I was like, ooh, fuck. And then I called Joe. I was freaking out, super pissed. And he's like, oh, just kill the turrets, and then you can ride a turret. And I did that, and I fucking annihilated the arm. Like, I just, one turret, the arm was just nothing. It was just mince.
That's right.
And then it's pretty easy, because you're down an arm, which you can't actually dodge. And 90% of the time, it's like, I'm going to swipe straight down, but you can't go left or right. You're stuck. And so killing the arm off is nice. And then you only have 3 turrets to contend with, and then you kind of pick them off one by one. Of course, by grabbing the turret, ripping it off of its base, riding it, and annihilating its friends, and that's how you win the game. But just make sure you do that. Make sure you grab the turrets, weaken a turret down, and take the turret, and then just fucking destroy the arm.
Oh, go
ahead.
I'll give you a clue with the arm. The arm, when it's punching towards you, it's going to punch straight. And if you're in the middle of the plane of the passage, you will there's nowhere to run. So when you're hanging out and attacking the thing you're supposed to attack, hang up at the top and hang out at the bottom, the extremes of both. And so when the arm swings at you, you have room to fly up to the top, and you have room to fly at the bottom. And it's the same thing when he's going straight forward. Stay to the sides, because that's where the arm's going to come after you. It comes straight after you. It doesn't go to a certain space.
Right.
So, yeah, there is a way to dodge the arms. And it did take me a while to do it. I think I spent like an hour on the final fight just restarting over again.
Oh, I know I did.
So, it was, yeah. So the final fight was hard. So that's nice, I guess. Like last game, we had like no final boss, but also this game, like it has like item shit. Like you can get better equipment and have like slightly higher health and shit like that. But you almost, the problem with that is that the game has made it, impossible to die or whatever. And so like none of that shit matters in the game. I don't even know if there were side quests in this game because it was so extremely linear. This is what I assume happened, Schweiss. They had this amazing story that they were going to tell. They were going to like bring the Crystal Chronicle games up to snuff with the rest of the Final Fantasy series. That's what they were thinking.
Okay.
And they spent all their fucking time on those cutscenes. And then they had to rush this game out in their like 2009 like bang it out releases of these 3 and 4 actually with 2008, these 4 Crystal Chronicle games just like suddenly in a row, and then they rushed this product. They completely rushed the rest of this product. So what's funny to me is just the difference in quality between the story, which is way higher than a lot of these spin-offs, and then the quality of the gameplay, which is... I will agree with you, Schweiss. I will actually agree. Dirge of Cerberus has some pretty fucking awful controls.
Mm-hmm.
But these are the worst controls in the entire series so far.
Oh, yeah. I would be amazed if something else has worse controls than this in this world. Not just in this series, but like... this game, I would rather play every Digimon game that's ever fucking been than play this game again. Like, I am so done with this fucking thing. I will say that Alone in the Dark: A New Nightmare, which we had a review for Nude Clan, is worse. God. Controls-wise. But, that's tank controls. I can't stand them. But that's the only game I'm thinking of that's worse control-wise. And if Star Wars Bounty Hunter, which we also reviewed on Nude Clan, if that game, every time you fell off a ledge, like you Spider-Man'd your way back up, then I would also say this game has worse controls than that. But it doesn't. So in that case, fuck Bounty Hunter. So this is only the third worst game gameplay-wise. But luckily, it's an easy game. It's not fucking... it's not brutal. Yeah, that's true.
That's its one saving grace. It remembers that it's a kid's series and that kids can't fucking... they wouldn't be able to handle this shit.
That is,
or maybe they
true.
would. Maybe they would have more patience with like the weird wonky Wii controls. So there are good Wii controls.
There are, yeah.
And like the Zelda games are great. And they're always great. And they were Twilight Princess was fantastic, right? So you can do good controls with the Wii motion thing. There's tons of examples of it. It's just this game is not one of those.
No, God, no.
So yeah, gameplay, that's pretty much all there is to the gameplay too. It's all story-based, so there's these moments of dodging and racing and stuff like that where you're just using it to go back and forth, and it's not very good then either. Then you got the flying weird, stuff with the boss fights, and then the regular fighting, which is just kind of random, and it's just... bludgeoning everything by like pulling it up in the air and throwing it across. There are some sneak missions too, which I actually found kind of fun. Sneaking around in a train car, like dodging around things, and all you were doing was like flicking the Wii remote a little bit, in which case that was fine. So yeah, gameplay is fucking terrible. It's fucking terrible.
I thought the dancing scene was actually pretty fun though, doing the dancing. I was like, oh, this is kind of a fun little like...
Well, that's because...
the Wiimotes.
Yeah, that's because it didn't take accuracy. You just had to shake both Wiimotes.
It wasn't a precise Wii bar thing where like it's like, oh, you better not fuck up or you're going to get slapped.
Yeah. I would also say like the directional stuff at the same time wasn't very well like thought out. Just the D-pad.
Yeah,
thing
like, and
with
the part where
analog
you're
stick.
in the beginning when you're trying to stop the ship from crashing, like, I was grinding on the walls like half the time. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. Like, why would you? They're like, oh, you better turn left, and I'm like yanking to the left, and I'm slowly just.
Oh yeah, you got to go all the way. Yeah,
you're just grinding against the wall the whole time, and I'm like, God, even the game can't handle its controls. Like, it's fucking. There's no way to stop this.
Yeah, there's a lot of incompleteness with this game too. So it's not just the controls, it's not and the equipment, but like those racing things, like it gives you points.
Yeah, but for
what
nothing.
the fuck are the points for?
Yeah,
it's not like you can go back and play those things again that I know of.
Yeah, it's like points for fun. Like, I don't do points for fun. Like, there wasn't even a grade at the end of this game like there was in My Life as a King. Nothing like that. It's just, I'm like, what is happening here? Like,
yeah, it's like they skimped out on all the gameplay stuff. It's like they had a company make all the cutscenes for them, and then they were like, oh shit, we got to put this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they are very
crazy.
different. And, like, good God, like, it plays painfully. And there's not really anything to do in the game. Like, you can go and you can fight dudes and you can pull crystals out of the sky and, like, collect extra life spheres, but,
Fuck that.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter when the guy at the very end can slap you for 15 life spheres at a time. It's like, you can't have 2,000 life. Like, it doesn't make much of a difference. You're just gonna have to die. Like, so like, there's almost no incentive to play the game beyond just plowing through the story because there's not really anything else to do in this world. The world's really small. I mean, we have chocobo riding. There's like a chocobo mini game, but again, you just collect gold to get slightly better equipment. After you have to like buy pieces of equipment and get somebody to craft the equipment for you. And it gives you some stat increases, and you can tell the difference a little bit. But, I mean, it's not... I mean, most of the game is about just being able to dodge and stay alive. So I would say it's a skill-based game, but really it's almost a luck-based game. You just gotta hope that the RNG gives you the straight up and down slaps at the end, and as opposed to, like, the side swipes that can sometimes tag you on the way out, even though you were in the same exact spot and didn't get hit on the way in. But there's just not a whole lot to do in the game, you know. It's pretty barren as far as gameplay is concerned. I mean, there's no... And
the map is atrocious, by the way.
Oh, yeah, the map is impossible in this game. It's like, we gotta go blah, 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 go do this. And I'm like, okay, can you
can't even move around on the map to see what the fuck is around it. Like,
yeah, I'm like,
it just says where you are.
Yeah, it's a big "you are here" sign without, like, the other stores in the fucking mall. It's just the "you are here" sign. I'm like, thanks a lot for the thank you for telling me where I'm at. Now can I maybe find out where to go? No, you are here. I'm like, oh
god.
Yeah, it's man, nothing to do honestly. And like riding around on the trains to get from area to area, I was like, I wish I was playing Lightning Returns right now so badly. Like, cause the train thing, like the big planes, it's kind of reminded me of it, but like this is so much worse. So much worse. I mean, the story is better, certainly, than Lightning Returns, but my God. We are a video game podcast, not like not a video novel podcast.
This, you can skip the train rides, by the way, and I always did.
Yeah, you just talk to the ripped fucking dude and
he'll
let you.
That's right.
I did, yeah.
So, it wasn't that bad. Come on. The last thing I'll say about gameplay with exploration is that if there's a fat person hanging around, don't get near them.
Yeah.
There's like a negative magnet effect every time you hit a fat person, and you will go fucking flying.
Yeah, like as if it needed to be more frustrating. Occasionally you'll just get knocked to the ground in town, and I'm like, why is this a mechanic? They just like bum rush you, and you're sprawling through the air, flying through the air. Your coins are going everywhere. I'm like, God, what is wrong with this game? Like, why is this
like they programmed it as a joke?
Yeah, I'm like,
it's like, this is funny. And it's like, oh shit, did we put out that version?
Yeah, like they gave us the deleted cut, you know, like the stuff they pulled out.
They gave us the blooper.
Yeah, the blooper reel is what they released.
Blooper reel of bad gameplay. There's like a decent version of this game.
Yeah.
And like this was the version that like one of the programmers took home and just like fucked around with. I'm like,
Yeah, he just had fun with the beta, you know, but God, yeah, dude. There's so many little things like that too, and it's like, and there's honestly like nothing to do in this world. There are a couple moments where you can like create a garden near the Capitol after one's destroyed, and you can like play hide and seek with these kids, but there's really almost nothing optional to do in here at all, other than search the areas, find the treasure chest, maybe get some life spheres, upgrade your life, and then go on. Like it's kind of boring. There's not really any drive to continue playing the game. You just want to get through the story and give it to the guns afterwards.
Yeah, I love Nude Clan references on UFF.
I know, yeah. I was dude, oh man, I want to do like Office Space on it. Like with the game coming out of the Wii disc, just like stomping on the Wii and shit, and just ripping it apart.
It's funny, I made that joke about having Echoes of Time above the trash can, and this is definitely...
You're like, if only I knew.
Gameplay-wise, I am honestly, like, tormented back and forth, though, because I thought the story was really good. And so, like, the gameplay just being shit. It's just like, what the fuck happened with this game?
Yeah.
What the fuck happened? But yeah, I'm glad I beat it in a week. That's nice.
Yeah, I kind of do. I wonder if that affects my hatred of it, you know? Like, because I'm just
I beat it in 2 sittings, man. We're not different here. It doesn't, yeah.
All right.
Okay, music and design.
Music I thought was actually pretty good in this game.
Oh, yeah. Music's fan-fucking-tastic in this game.
Like the rock song at the very end, that's pretty sweet.
Oh, yeah. There's some fucking metal shit going on. There's some really nice tunes going through the town. I didn't think anything was annoying. Fucking yeah. Some of the music was just like really fantastic. I like the little Spanish tune that plays when you're with a hot chick at the dancing part.
Yeah. It's good.
It's good. It's good music.
Surprisingly. There aren't a ton of tracks, but it's all well done, you know.
Yeah. I think it's the best soundtrack of the entire Crystal Chronicles series.
I would say that's easily the case, yeah.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that quite a bit. The design of the game, it looks pretty goddamn good, actually. I thought it was going to look like shit, and I was like, this actually isn't that bad looking. It
is weird coming from the other Crystal Chronicle games, like the chibi style.
Yeah.
And this one's more of like a straight anime sort of thing. And it is still that world. You could tell it's still that world, but it is expanded greatly, and they were definitely like trying to make a better experience on the Wii. So it was a little odd just coming off the other Crystal Chronicle games. But yeah, I also thought the game looked really good. And some of the areas, like the little underground areas or like the Uke dimension or whatever that you have to go through.
Yeah, their new world or whatever it was.
Yeah, I thought that shit was really cool looking. And although the final battle is terrible gameplay wise, I thought it looks cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it looked great too. So it sounds great, looks great. I think it has decent cutscenes and a good story, and yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else to say about design, though?
No, it is a pretty good-looking Wii game, to be completely fair. The towns, and it's kind of interactive, too, and I thought that was kind of an enjoyable part of it. I mean, I know the Wii controls are the worst part of this game, but just dinking around in town, like pulling up levers, finding new areas, like stuff like that's pretty cool, and it's fun to have an interactive world like that, because not all Final Fantasy worlds are interactive. And so I kind of applaud that as far as the design goes. And yeah, it looks pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
For a Wii game.
So there you go. Also, the final boss theme. Bitchin'.
That was awesome. I wish I could have heard more of it, but I got fucking manhandled every time. But yeah, great rock track, and kind of a nice like cherry on top for a pretty solid soundtrack in this game.
See? Yeah, you said some positive things about it.
Yeah, I know. There's stuff to enjoy.
Yeah.
Just not playing the game.
Well, Schweiss, I would normally say let's move on to questions, but I just checked, and we have 0 questions.
Damn.
We also have 0 reviews.
Well, fuck, people. I guess.
And we tweeted an hour before we started recording, and we got retweets and likes. 0 questions. So thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate the retweets.
Are none of you one of the, 40,000 people that have played this game?
I don't think they are.
They might not be. I wonder if even Aldwin has played this one.
I haven't heard any of our listeners have played this game. The only person who had an opinion was Jake, and Jake hadn't played it.
Yeah.
So there you go. Schweiss, I guess that means legacy of this game is that it's supposed to be a shitty game that killed the Crystal Chronicle games. We knew it going in. And I can see on one giant aspect why that is the case. It also didn't do well sales-wise. It would have probably done a little better, had a longer streak if it had good reviews. And it would have had good reviews had the gameplay been decent.
Yeah, I think it would have done a lot better if it wasn't so painful to play. Because it is, overall, the rest of it is pretty solid, to be completely fair. But it plays so terribly that it wasn't enough.
No.
Even Famitsu gave it a 30, and that's trash in their eyes. Those guys are the most forgiving reviewers I've ever seen.
No, they're not that forgiving. They don't give 40s very often.
No, but they give 38s and 39s all the time.
That's true. That is true. There's 2 of the reviewers that are sticklers.
Yeah, 2 of them are meh.
And then 2 of them are just really easy on everything.
That sounds like what we had with us 4 on Nude Clan, yeah.
No. I don't think that's true.
I don't know, man. If you look
at you're the one who's easy on the games usually.
Yeah.
Well, Schweiss, overall thoughts?
If you've got this game, if you already foolishly spent your hard-earned money on it, you should probably play it. But please, just get it done quickly. Don't make this one that you come back to. You will get destroyed. I guess it's worth a playthrough if you're curious as to what happens at the end of this not great chunk of games. But if not, then I wouldn't worry about it. If you don't have it, don't buy it, basically. Unless you can get it for cheap, and it's one of the last ones you have left.
It is one of the ones you can get for pretty cheap.
Yeah. I wouldn't worry about missing out on it if you haven't yet played it. So yeah, I guess it's up to you, but I don't recommend playing this game.
I think for one of the spin-offs, I would say the story is one of the best. Still have a few spin-offs left, but we'll see. And in fact, I would say the best that's not a sequel or a prequel to one of the main series games.
Yeah.
The best I've played, I guess we've only played Crystal Chronicles and Tactics. That's in my weird opinion, I guess. Gameplay wise, it is atrocious, but it is still beatable, and it's not frustrating except in 3 parts. Not frustrating as in you want to fucking chuck the controllers. You're just you're just shaking your head the whole time. These controls are terrible. It's a different type of frustration than what I experienced on the Bounty Hunter. But yeah, I would, I don't know. Because I'm so split on the gameplay and the story and the music and the design being all good and the gameplay just being the thing that's just awful. I feel kind of weird about this one. Because I feel that way, should I split it in the middle of my rankings? It's just an odd thing for me. But, yeah. This one's a weird one. I wouldn't say it's unplayable or anything like that. And if you're doing what we're doing on this podcast, which is totally doable, if you got shitloads of time.
Yeah.
Over many years. Then yeah. I mean, this isn't one that you should, be scared of playing or whatever. It's just... everything they told you about the gameplay is true. It's bad.
Yes. Every single word.
Every single word. Okay, Schweiss. Okay, I know what my ranking's going to be.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so Echoes of Time is still the best one, followed by My Life as a Dark Lord, followed by Ring of Fates, followed by My Life as a King, followed by Crystal Bearers, And rounding at the bottom of the list is the original Crystal Chronicles, which I think also has bad gameplay and not a good story. But the gameplay in Crystal Chronicles is better, but the story is much worse. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm feeling about it right now. The gameplay is so bad that it's pulling it down. But I'd say out of all the rest of the games, I think it does have the best story. It has the best story and the worst gameplay.
Yeah.
The gameplay is so bad that it's only beating out the original Crystal Chronicle game.
All right. I am going to do My Life as a Dark Lord at the top. I'm going to do Echoes of Time at number 2. Number 3 is going to be, I think I put My Life as a King. And then number 4 is going to be the Ring of Fates. 5th, I'm going to do... Oh, shit. This is where it's tough. I think I'm going to do Crystal Bears as well.
Okay.
And then rounding out the bottom... You know what? No. Crystal Chronicles 5th. Crystal Bears bottom. The gameplay is that bad that I will put it at the bottom. Because I said when I finished it, I was like, that is the worst game I have played in a long time.
What? You played a little bit of New Nightmare.
To completion.
Okay.
To completion.
New Nightmare you didn't complete because it was so bad. Yeah.
Because I hated it so much. And I didn't have to do it, so I didn't.
Yeah. I had to play that one fucking twice. Because it glitched on me. Yeah. This game didn't glitch on me. Actually, no, it didn't glitch on me. My controller was dying, and I thought it was glitching on me.
Yeah, me too, and I was like, no.
Fuck. I was like, no, this piece of fucking filth. I'm gonna fucking kill everything. And then it's just like, oh, no, my battery's dead.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens with the Wii. It just, doesn't warn you. It does warn you, but it doesn't warn you when it's out. It's weird. Weird thing. All right, Schweiss. Anything to add to this game?
Not another
short
word.
Game.
Yeah.
I think my playthrough was just over 9 hours.
Oh, mine was 12.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How?
I don't know. I got lost. I forgot where I was going.
Oh, shit.
And also, the bikini part took me over an hour, so...
Oh, there you go. You lose some time on the bikini part.
Some of it, yeah. It's not a long game, though. I mean, even that's below the how long to beat time, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Even my slow-ass time.
All right, Schweiss, we only have one more Wii game left in the main part of our show. So after Crystal Bears, we are moving on to the Mana series Part 1. That's what our next mini-season is called. And we will be playing the game. This is one game with 3 different titles based upon the version that you're playing. The game is called Final Fantasy Adventure. And in the original Japanese title, it was called Mana something Final Fantasy something. It had the word Final Fantasy in the title. So it is, in fact, a Final Fantasy game. So yeah, it's both the beginning of the Mana series and also a very early Game Boy spin-off of the Final Fantasy series. And so not to be confused with Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, and not to be confused with Final Fantasy Legend. This is Final Fantasy Adventure. Final Fantasy Legend is not a Final Fantasy game because it never had the title Final Fantasy in it. And my God, if I get one more goddamn tweet from someone saying, why is Final Fantasy Legend not on there, what Final Fantasy Adventure is, it's because Final Fantasy Legend in Japan did not have the name Final Fantasy. Anyway.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Adventure is next, aka Dawn of Mana, which is the Game Boy Advanced remake of the game, which is supposed to be the worst one, so neither of us are playing that one. And then Adventures of Mana, which is the new version, new remake of the game, which is available on the Vita, and I believe it's available on phones as well. So, Schweiss, is that the version you're playing?
Yes.
Okay, so I will be playing Final Fantasy Adventure, you will be playing Adventures of Mana. And in fact, ordering a Retron 5 and a Game Boy thing, because I almost was going to emulate this game, and then I was like, no, going to stick with the no emulation. And we have to play Mystic Quest, and we already ordered the SNES cartridges, so...
Yeah.
I'm getting a Retron 5 to play these cartridge-based games, so this is going to be an interesting experience for me, but hopefully we're going to have that game. We'll get that shit over, and I think we both want to try to beat that game in 2 weeks.
Yes.
It's supposed to be really short. The long version of the game, Dawn of Mana, is the Game Boy Advance version, and that was the one that we're not playing. So, yeah, I'm excited to try out a Mana game. I played a few seconds on an emulator, and it is pretty much The Legend of Zelda.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
It's less blocky and a little smoother, just because it's a newer game.
All right.
Than the original Legend of Zelda. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Just like a regular action game. That'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, the last Wii game we got in our playthrough is Chocobo's Dungeon. Which, have we ordered that one?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we'll see if Wii controls fuck us over once more, but hopefully not. But yeah, man. We're on our way. We're in the stretch.
We are. Thank you guys so much for listening. And please be excited for the next episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, what are we going to be doing next time? Is it another...
I think we'll be reviewing Adventure Log.
Oh, that's right. That FF11
Final
thing.
Fantasy 11 comic book. That was 7 pages long.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Let's do it. I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll see you guys then. As always, enjoy.
At UFF Podcast, at Joseph DeGoulier, UltimaFinalFantasy.com. If you want to support the show on Patreon, please do. We really appreciate it. You can see our old episodes At YouTube.com/UltimaFinalFantasy. Still need to fix that stuff. And, we got a Facebook that we haven't answered the messages in forever. We have a email that we haven't that we haven't answered in a while. That's fffanatics123@gmail.com. And but we do look at it, and we will get caught up soon. But yeah, guys, I guess we're good here. Schweiss, we're good.
All right, we'll see you next time, and enjoy the grind.